Hello everyone, can you hear me? Maybe. Hopefully. Hello, yay. Alright, I just have a couple little announcements and then we can get started. Hello and welcome. We are about to start Obey Me, gender inclusive. Why is everything so small? Otome game? I can read, guys, it's fine. Presented by Brooke. And first off, a couple announcements. We launched an Indiegogo. We are raising funds to make us an official con. All the details can be found in the Discord, in the channel Indiegogo, let's go. Secondly, we have a newsletter currently going out every 3 months or so. You can sign up on citruscon.com. And that's everything. I'm going to start this video. Enjoy!
Hello everyone, and welcome to my panel on Obey Me, a gender-inclusive Otome game. My name is Brooke, and I will be your host for this panel. I do a lot of fanfic writing, and also like fan art, so if you're interested, you can check out my Linktree, and all my links are there. I also do Obey Me blog stuff on Tumblr, a little bit on Twitter, but mostly on Tumblr now. So if you want like more in-depth info on like events and stuff going on with this game, you can check that out. So for this panel, we're going to do it in kind of a compliment sandwich form, where I'm going to talk about something good, being the game, play and characters and that kind of thing, then something bad, the challenges in the fandom, and then another thing that's good, some positive things in the fandom. Alright. If you have any questions after the panel, feel free to reach out to me and I will answer them the best I can. I'm no means an expert on this game, so I also encourage you to do your own research. I started playing Obey Me back in 2022, and then there was this long gap I did not play until Nightbringer came out, and then I've been like playing every day since then. Obey Me is developed by NTT Solmare as part of their Shall We Date game line. There's currently 2 Obey Me games, the original one which came out in 2019, and then Obey Me Nightbringer which came out in 2023. In Obey Me, the plot is basically you're a human and you get transported to this magical demon realm called the Devildom. And when you wake up there, they're like, hey, you have to go to school here as a human exchange student for our new program. And there you meet all the characters and like go to school and like fall in love, that kind of thing, get up to shenanigans. In Obey Me Nightbringer, you are taken back in time after the events called Celestial War. And you are pretending to be a demon, and you have to kind of meet the characters all over again as they are like adjusting to their new powers and things, while knowing the other characters are waiting for you, the original characters. There's 12 main characters in the games. I main Levi, Lucifer, and Simon, but my favorite kind of changes depending on my mood. The 7 depicted on the screen here are the brothers. They're labeled 1 to 7, and I will start with those characters. Each one of the brothers is the avatar of one of the 7 deadly sins, and each character has an official like color. I don't really agree with the color assignments, all of them, but I include them here since they're kind of important. I also included a motif that each of the brothers kind of like fits. Those aren't official though. So the first brother is Lucifer. He's the avatar of pride. He's very aloof, I would say. He's the oldest brother of the group, takes care of everyone. If they cause problems, he's the one to solve it. He's very he's grumpy because he's stressed. That is basically what's going on here. And then the second brother, Mammon, is the avatar of greed. He's very sleazy and will take your money, but he's also extremely passionate and is very open about his feelings for the main character. Next we have Levi or Leviathan and Satan. Levi is the avatar of envy. He loves anime, manga, and is very obsessed with his waifus. He's honestly kind of mean, but I love him anyways, just because he's adorable little snake man. Satan is the avatar of wrath, and he is short-tempered, he loves books and cats, and that's about all he loves. That and messing with Lucifer, the oldest brother. He is also, terrible at dressing. All his outfits are horrible, and I love that for him. Asmo is the fifth brother. He's the avatar of lust, and he's very flirtatious, obsessed with his appearance, but he's also very caring towards his other brothers. And he is the only brother with a contract that is not the main character. And then we have the twins, Beal and Belle. Beal's the avatar of gluttony, and he's always hungry. He's very mild-natured. He loves sports and working out. This isn't canon, but Pika, I think that's how you say it, is the only eating disorder that I could find that kind of matched what he has, because sometimes he'll eat things that aren't food just because it suddenly looks appealing to him in the moment. Belle is the avatar of sloth. He is very stubborn, and his moods swing like crazy, and I could not find a clear PNG of him. I am so sorry. And he just sleeps all the time, basically. He'll fall asleep anywhere, but he just never feels rested. That's it for the brothers. Next we have Diavolo, who's the future king of the Devil Dom, and the president, principal person of the school that you show up in the first game. I think he's the first character you run into also. He's like hey, welcome, you have woken up in this strange place. Be my friend, because we need you, kind of thing going on. He's just great. Honestly, I have nothing bad to say about him. He's great. And then there's his butler, Barbados. Barbados is very quiet and mysterious, but is very good at keeping everyone in line. He also has a non-main character contract. And then we have Solomon. He's the only other human in the game, and he comes off as confident and kind of arrogant, and he can't cook at all. Just not at all. He can't be trusted, is the vibe he gives off. And then there's the two angels, Simon and Luke. Simon is very loyal, but also very curious about the things the demons are doing. He's like, ooh, maybe I could get in on that. Maybe it's not so bad. And Luke, he's the little baby. He's a little baby boy. Adorable little baby boy that everyone likes to refer to as a chihuahua. And in the first game, he's more welcoming of everyone. But in Nightbringer, he's very much like, why are we here? We shouldn't be associating with demons kind of thing. There is also 3 side characters, and I cannot find clear PNGs for them either. Quite a few characters I could not find clear PNGs for, which was devastating. We got Raphael, the angel. He's very quiet and meticulous, but he's very quick to violence. He's got these arrows that are like pew pew pew, And then we got 13 on the right side here. She is a trickster, kind of. She's Grim Reaper. Likes to pull tricks on everyone. And then the last character is Mephistopheles. I cannot say his name. I call him Memphi. I can't even say that either. Good gosh. But anyways, he's Diavolo's childhood friend, and he's 100% a horse girl. There's a bunch of other characters in the games, and like the events and things in the main story, but they don't have PNGs, most of them. They're just like written out as names. But these are the ones that do have images of what they look like. You have the little D's, number 1 to 7. They're these cute little demon things. And then over here, I'm going to point with my mouse, we have Henry 1.0 and 2.0. Henry 1.0 is the snake at the bottom and is Levy's pet snake. And then later he gets Henry 2.0, which is the fish. The fish doesn't have an official PNG in-game, but this is like an image off one of the cards, and it also like shows up in the anime. And then Lotan over here is also Levy's pet in a sense. He also doesn't have a PNG, but this image was in the manga, and so I thought to include it. And then on the bottom right we have Serbius. That's probably not how you say that, but that's how I'm gonna say that, and that's what you're getting. And he is Lucifer's pet that is like gifted to him during the game. The most important thing while playing the game is to save your transfer code. I'm saying that because I have misplaced my transfer code before and it is an ordeal. But yeah, make sure you save your transfer code. That is in the settings of the game, and it'll just say transfer data and it'll have a code there. So make sure you write that down if you are playing and set up an account. Very important. Now, there's a few differences between the two games, but not like too much. It's just like a few aesthetic things, really. So the games are basically a phone inside a phone. You're given a DDD, which is the phone, and this is where all the things happen. I'm not going to go over all the apps because there is a ton of things on here, and it's just kind of fun to figure out yourself a little bit. But I included some comparisons between the games and like some main functions. So when you go into the app, you'll see a home screen, and the home screen will have all your apps on it, basically. So for Nightbringer, over here, it's got two slides. I want to call them slides, but they're screens. It's got two screens to have the apps on it, so then you get a better view of the character there. And the original game only had like one home screen. I don't know if they've updated it since I took this image. They might have. And yeah, so everything you need is on here. And down here, this is just in the bottom right is just a screenshot of the character changer, so you can pick what character you want, their outfits, and their background and stuff. And the gameplay is a little bit different in between each games. They're both, I would say, rhythm games. For the original game, it was like this tappy thing that I never really understood. I just tap the screen aggressively and things happen. It's kind of how I play, which maybe not the best tactic. And then for Nightbringer, it's a more like typical rhythm game, I would call it, where you have to tap the things as they appear on the line and get the points going on. There's different things you can play on the games. It's basically the same for both of them. There's the main story, which alternates between the rhythm game modes and story mode. So you go back and forth in between those. And there's 3 difficulties. There's green, orange, and pink that you can play. So there's the normal story as well, and then there's a hard mode, which has less story chapters in it. There's also events. These happen like once a month about, with a few days in between events, and they're like same format, but limited story. And to play all these, you need to pull cards, which uses a gacha system. So in the gacha system, there's 3 types of cards. There is demon cards, memory, and fragments. Fragments are just pieces of a card, and once you get enough, you get the full card. Demon cards are the most important for leveling up. They are the priority. You don't really need your memory cards to be super high if your demon cards are at a very high level. There's also daily activities you can do. So there's a daily check-in where you get like an item. And then the top 2 images here, this is a food making game, but you match up the symbols, and then depending on how well you do and the level of difficulty, you get more items or rarer items. And then at the bottom left is jobs, and it runs even when the app is off, and then you can collect it later when the timer is done. And you get like money from that, as well as you can get intimacy, which I'll talk about a bit later. And then on the bottom right, this is the chat function where they can call you and stuff, but you also have like a daily one. So you'll just get like a random daily message. Sometimes they're related to previous messages, sometimes not. And you just get to like chat with someone for the day. Intimacy can also be increased through that. My notifications are horrible because I always am like, oh, it's not the right time to look at my daily message. The mood isn't right. And now I have over 100 notifications that I'm ignoring because now it's too much. So don't do that. Highly recommend not doing that. And so for intimacy, it is, if you look at this bottom image, there's like a little thing of the character with like a heart beside it. This is your indication that intimacy has increased a bit, and it shows your level. So for Simon, who's here, I'm at level 26. And intimacy, there's multiple ways you can get it. So through jobs, through daily chats, in story episodes for the main story, you can also get intimacy depending on for certain characters, depending on what option you pick. And there's also this thing called special guest, which these images are from. So if you've done well in a level, you'll get special guest notification, and you get 3 tries to just kind of like hang out with this character, and you can give them items, you can touch them, they'll say things to you. Most of the items are pretty like regular. They'll be like food, books, that kind of thing. But there is one very suspicious item that the first time I saw it, I was like, no, that can't be what I think it is. But it is. Up here, there is a whip, and that one is fun. It's so weird, but it's so fun, because why not? So you get like more spicier lines then. So Bell here, I hit him with it, and he said, I didn't know you were into this sort of thing, but... And then he like continues his line with the thing, but I don't want to spoil it, so... But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And if you are unsure when you're doing this, like what items to give characters, because some characters like certain items, look for the sparkles. Like here on the whip, there is a bunch of sparklies, and that is because it is an item Belle likes. But if you don't do it in the right order, sometimes he'll still not really like it, so you gotta be careful when you're doing that kind of thing. You also cannot be fooled by the sparkles in the events. When you're playing an event, there'll be story modes that have like sparkles on them. That does not mean intimacy increase. It just means you have the potential to have a more intimate moment with the character, like plot-wise, but it doesn't increase your intimacy. Obame has also branched out into other media forms over the years, including this, the Obey Me comic. It's very good. It's ongoing online. You have to purchase it if you want to read it. It also has 2 physical English volumes, I believe, of filming this. A 3rd one is coming out soon, I think, though. It's very good, though. Highly recommend. And then there's also another comic called the Obey Me Misadventures. These are like single page comics about the brothers and stuff. This one's free to read online, and I will include a link to these at the end of this presentation if you're interested in checking them out. They also have a lot of music that they use in-game and for like special events and stuff like this. I think there's 39 songs, give or take, and it also includes, well, I don't think any of them include the side characters I mentioned, like 13, Raphael and Memphi. I don't think they have ever had a singing part, but all the other characters have. And this is kind of funny, but something that like always throws me off when I'm playing the game. There's seasonal songs, but they don't limit the seasonal songs to the season. So it'll be like the middle of summer and there's Christmas music playing in the game, and you're like, for the event, and you're like, why? Why is this happening? It's very good though. So yeah, you can check out their music on Spotify. And there's also been some audio dramas. If you like get specific albums of the music, there's like dramas connected to them kind of thing. And I think all the individual songs have like a small audio drama. Some of them are available on YouTube, but not like all of them. So it's just kind of like, they're all over the place. And recently, it just came out, I want to say 2 days ago, as I'm filming this, they have an ASMR. And I'm hoping that is good, but it's getting mixed reviews, specifically on its difficult payment method as of right now. So that's kind of, ugh! But I like that they're doing something like that, because, yes, I want Lucifer ASMR, yeah. And there's also an anime, if you would like to just watch it. But the anime does not follow the plot of the games. It's kind of, I don't know when exactly it takes place in the timeline, but basically the plot of the anime is the main character is away in the human realm, and so the brothers are like, what are we gonna do without them? Because our lives are now terrible. We can't do anything without them here. So yeah, it's really fun. It's just like short 6-minute episodes, but there's 2 seasons of it. And it's just really funny and cute. And I included some of my like favorite screenshots from it on the screen here. Cause yeah, the one, this one over here, this is my laptop background right now. Because I love this image. This is Lovey here. He's so cute! Now I wanted to talk about some of the challenges in the Obey Me fandom, because I think it's important when going into any fandom to just be aware of what's going on, kind of what everyone's talking about, because there's always going to be someone that's unhappy, so it's up to you to decide what side you're on, I suppose. So, one of the main things I wanted to talk about was the game's age rating, because it is confusing to say the least. I could have sworn when Obey Me came out in 2019, it had a mature age rating to it, but now it says it has a teen age rating, and Nightbringer has an everyone 10+ rating, which is really confusing because I feel like the content hasn't changed too much between the games. Nightbringer's definitely toned down a bit, but like some of the things are still the same. Like it still has, for example, the whip item, it still has that, and the characters still say things about it, how they feel about it. And there's definitely scenes in Nightbringer where there could be a sex scene if it was this type of game, it's never, Obey Me never shows anything, but it's very implied half the time, the situations that are going on. So in Nightbringer, there was like scene, for example, where in Lucifer's office we have this really emotional moment, and then he's like, we need to be alone together in this office, and they write up so much tension, and then afterwards you're like out of the office and everyone's like, what are you doing, why are you all so frazzled? And it's like, well, because we probably were doing something in that office. But yeah, and the original Obey Me game was pretty wild. This screenshot in the top left was from the original game, and it had like things like that in it all the time. And sometimes it went even like further, where it was like, yeah, we are having sex right now, basically. So it's like, it was kind of confusing why they would change the age rating. I guess because they wanted to like appeal to more people, but it's like, it's kind of weird. And so now you got like a whole bunch of like young people coming into the games, not knowing the like history and context of it, and it's really created like isolated spaces, I feel, in the community. Like I'm in a few different Obey Me Discord groups, and none of them interact with each other either. Like, I don't think anyone in either of the groups know each other, just because the community is so isolated, because you have to create that like separation, it feels like, so people aren't like finding each other. Also, shipping in Obey Me is complicated because it's very unclear how the characters are related to each other. So I created this like chart to kind of like make it easier without like giving away too many spoilers of like how everyone's related. So on this left side in red, all these characters in that bubble are somehow related to each other in some way, but they're not related to anyone on this right side, which is in green. And everyone in green are not related to anyone in green or in red, basically. And this complication is kind of made even worse by the fact that the numbering system for the brothers does not apply to their ages. So Lucifer does happen to be the oldest, I believe, but like the twins are not the youngest. So there's a gray area there, and the numbers mean other things, and it's not revealed right away what they mean. So yeah, and MC's just floating there in the middle. Whoa! Go MC! I thought it would be fun to share with you all my favorite Obey Me ships, because why not? So my favorite ships are Memphi and Mammon, which I would consider a rare pair probably. I don't know if I've seen anyone else shipping them, but I like the idea of someone who likes money and is a very passionate lover falling in love with someone who like has a hard time showing his true feelings and is rich, because yeah, that just sounds fantastic to me. And then my other two favorite ships are probably I think they're very popular, but that might just be in my own little bubble. But Diavolo and Lucifer is a really big ship in Obey Me, because yeah, they're just so cute together. Yeah, this year is one of my favorite things. I've also heard though that there's some groups that completely ban this ship for some reason, and I'm not sure why. And then my third favorite ship is Solomon, Asmo, and Barbatos, which they have a canon kind of relationship thingy going, and it's fantastic. Now, I can't talk about challenges in Obey Me without mentioning Asmo. Asmo, as I said before, is the avatar of lust, and because the characters do have like something they're supposed to be representing, they come off very stereotypical at times. Asmo being very touchy-feely, wanting to have like sex with you all the time, being intimate, that kind of thing. And so it can cause some issues because, you know, some people aren't comfortable with that. And it doesn't really help that when you're given an option to accept advances in the game, usually given two choices. And when it comes to Asmo, for some reason, the choices are always, yes, I'm really down for this, or no, you are a disgusting person. For some reason, which does not seem right, because there's, like, okay ways to turn someone down. Like, you can be like, oh, sorry, I'm not, like, into this. No thank you. Like, you can just be nice about it. You don't have to be, like, mean to someone. So I feel like that's, like, kind of an issue that's been in the game for, like, a long time, that, like, fans have mentioned, that is never fixed, really. So you're just either really nice to him, or you're just really mean to him, which kinda sucks. Because I love Asmo. I think he's adorable, and he's a great brother, but I'm also not interested in him, but he's like my bestie, and I don't want to be mean to my bestie. That's just not fair. And along the same lines of that, because there is so many characters, a lot of the times it feels like you are being pushed towards a certain character when you're playing routes and stuff, and especially for events, they can't focus on all the characters all the time if it's just a short event. So your only option if you want to take an intimate route is with the event character. So it can sometimes feel very uneven, and people get upset about that. And yeah, sometimes it is upsetting, but it's like, with that, it's like, it is what it is, because there's so many characters and everyone needs their turn. But with like the Asmo thing, it's like, what are we enforcing here? I'm not really sure. Are we saying it's bad to be flirtatious? Because it's not, but they're really making it seem like you're a bad person if you do that, and the only option is you are also really flirtatious, so you're gonna accept that, or you're just gonna outright destroy the other person because they are overstepping your boundaries. So, like, ugh, little iffy there. Another character that gets a lot of flack is Luke. Everyone's big question is always, what is a child doing in a dating simulator game? And Luke isn't technically a child in human years, but he's like a couple hundred years old. But in angel years, that's like, he's like 10, or like preteen age. So it seems kind of odd why he would be here as an option. But I think part of the issue is here that, like, intimacy doesn't always remain romantic. In the game, it's just the intimacy level up is you're getting closer to this person. And for Luke, all the events and stuff we do with him aren't framed in a romantic sense. Like, it does seem like he's sweet on you a little bit, but it's more like a, oh, I admire you and I love you for that because you are a great person that I look up to kind of way. And his events are always cute things like, oh, we're gonna go make cupcakes for everyone, or let's go on an adventure to find out why everyone's being suspicious kind of thing. And I think Luke is actually a great support character in the game, because he just adds like a cute lightheartedness to it that it needs. And if he was like removed, I feel like something would be lacking. But I feel like they should have just also not have put him as like a character that you could increase your intimacy with because of the confusion that causes and everything around that. So yeah, it's a little confusing, and there's a lot of issues with fans being like, oh, you like Luke, so you're a horrible person, so if you're doing any like fan events or anything, A lot of the times Luke is excluded from anything fan related, which is quite sad because look at his cute little face. He just needs happiness in his life. Player burnout is very real and something I have also experienced because there's just so much to do in the games. There's so much being released and so much going on. The worst, I think, was when we had new events coming out, and there was also main story updating and a birthday event going on. So you had 3 different story things to like do, and it was like overwhelming and crazy. And there's always like merch coming out. You gotta think about the multiple currencies, and players are kind of pitted against each other. So you're like, oh, I need to make sure I have so much points so that I'm like higher than everyone on my friends list, or so I can get good prizes in an event. And it can be very overwhelming, especially when the game is fun, like the stories are fun and stuff, so you don't want to miss out on that because you're like, ooh, but I want this stuff because it's fun. And it's, yeah. So that can be pretty overwhelming, but it's like the pros and cons. You gotta weigh the pros and cons. Now, you're probably wondering who the main character is because I keep referencing them, but haven't said anything about them. Games like this are typically geared towards a female audience, but Obey Me tried to do something a little different to make it more inclusive and appeal to more people. So when you go into the Obey Me game, the default name is Yuki, but you can change that to whatever you want, and all the characters will refer to the main character as they, them. And there's a few official kind of appearances of the main character. They kind of vary per media, like slightly. In the game, these are like the default icons in the center of this little sheep, and this is the most like common appearance of the main character. In the manga also, they are a sheep instead of like a human, but they're referred to human that has just been turned into a sheep kind of thing. In the manga, they are named Zephyr, but only in the online version. I saw recently that apparently for the Obey Me comic, they are called Ibuki or something like that. In the physical copies of the English and the French one, I have the French copy, but I didn't notice when I was reading. I just kind of like zoned past that, so I cannot confirm or deny. On the right here are some screenshots from the Sinful Indulgence English music video, and the main character is depicted as a schoolgirl with bright blue hair and bright blue eyes, kind of giving Hatsumiku vibes. And also, if you look down here in the corner here, this is the lead singer, Mura. I'm definitely saying his name wrong. I am so sorry. But he is just here as Asmo, and he also voices Asmo. So this is his depiction of the main character. When you're creating an MC, you can kind of just do whatever the heck you want, because the main character doesn't have a set backstory from when they like end up at the school. So you can do whatever you want. Take inspiration from your life, if you will. For example, I have my MC, Brooke Zephyr, who has many different forms. Her design in the original timeline is based on my own appearance, and I also created a little sheet form for her to match the manga. And then in the Nightbringer timeline, I took the inspiration from the sheep and added it to her demon form, since she's trying to be a demon in the game. So she went from having like long, straight brown hair to being stuck with a wool like fluffy pink hair. And her clothes in Nightbringer timeline are more what I would wear on a daily basis. But to keep like consistency throughout her design, she always has this little sheep bow, which I think is adorable. And then her grimoire, which is this book up here, is based off a notebook I own in real life. I have this like Harry Potter notebook and I write all my Obey Me notes in it, so her grimoire looks like that as well. Now, I got really into this, but you can basically make your backstory as complicated or not complicated as you want. And because you get to pick your relationships in the game and how much intimacy you increase per each character, you can just create your own path. Basically, say whatever you want. Brooke's backstory is that she's a college student around age 19 that is unsure of what to do in the future and is not doing very well health-wise before she gets whisked off to the school. And she takes on the last name Zephyr after Lucifer calls her that when she's stuck in her sheep form. Another interesting backstory I've seen for Obey Me MCs is that they are actually childhood friends of one of the brothers, and that's why they were invited to the school as an exchange student later on. And I've also seen ones where they're not even human. They are other kinds of like creatures like vampires, because vampires exist in the Obey Me world, but they're not really talked about a whole lot. So there'll be vampires or other demons, and they will be invited to the school. So you don't have to stick to being your human exchange student if you don't want to. You will be referred to as human in the game, but I've seen people just go wild, so you can as well. You'll probably see a lot of charts floating around to the one on the left here. These are relationship charts, and since there's so many characters, it's the easiest way to kind of tell other people how you feel about each character. So for me, I did red for don't get along, orange for not close, blue for friends, pinkish purple for very close, pink for in love, and green for it's complicated. With Brooke, she is a love interest with Simon. It's over here. Don't mind my little scribble drawings. Lucifer, and then Levy. But there are other characters like Solomon that also have interest in her, but she's not interested in them, and that kind of thing. And that's up for you to decide how you want to interpret your relationships with the characters. So I also did like this thing where I wrote out a bit about the relationships, and I like to do a lot of like fan art with them doing like little daily things together. And another thing you'll see a lot is people will create fan kids for their OCs and MCs. And so I have an example over here. This is one of my fan kids. This is Baby Morvay, and he is Lucifer's and Brooke's child. He's so cute. She has other children with other characters as well, but I don't have them as fleshed out. It's only Morvay, and then I have one for Simon and Brooke named Jasper. Those are the only two I have finalized so far. If you go into Google and type in Obey Me main character, a ton of results will come up, and everyone's is a bit different. Not everyone bases their main character off themselves. I've seen other people create a main character for each of the brothers, so they'll have multiple characters. And there's like all kinds of different relationship dynamics. I've seen a lot of poly relationships like my NC, including ones where there's multiple people's MCs shipped together with characters as well, creating that kind of poly relationship. And I think that's really cool that people can like bond that way through their characters. Obey Me very strongly screams ally, but I want to talk about some canon relationships in the game that I briefly mentioned previously in this presentation. And this part of the presentation is going to involve some spoilers, so if you don't want any of those spoilers, wait till I get to the slide after next, and then the spoilers will be done. So there's a few canon relationships, I'm going to call them canon, in Obey Me. They're never like specified really, so I guess you could consider it queer baiting. But I choose to believe they're canon, and that's up to you to decide if you agree with me or not. So the first is Dia Lucy, or Diavolo and Lucifer. So they are very tight, I would say. They are very close together. Diavolo is always talking about how beautiful Lucifer is and how he's just as dazzling as he used to be and that kind of thing. Like, his love never changes for Lucifer, and Lucifer would do anything for Diavolo. Constantly in the game, everyone's like, where's Lucifer? Like, why isn't he around? And then someone else will be like, oh, he's hanging out with Diavolo. Everyone's like, but it's the middle of the night. Why is he over there? Kind of thing going on. So they have that very close relationship. It's kind of like a contract, but not really, because they're both demons. So it's just kind of like a loyalty partnership is what I would call it. But it's pretty close to being an actual like romantic relationship. And then the other relationship that's basically canon is Asmo and Solomon, and Barbados is kind of tossed in there as well. Because Solomon, he's a human in the game, he's a sorcerer kind of person, and he has 72 contracts with demons. So it is kind of implied that he will do what he needs to for his demon contracts to make them happy. And Asmo being the avatar of lust, Solomon's job would be to help satisfy that. And Barbados is his other contract partner, and they have beef. I'm not going to spoil what the beef is because it's hilarious and I love it. But yeah, they have beef, and so they're a little bit on the ropes. But they're like, but Barbados would also do anything for Solomon, and vice versa. And Solomon has also stated he would do anything to get a contract he wants. And this card here of Solomon and Asmo on the left here is one of my favorite cards, just because it's so blatant that they have a close relationship. And I really love that, because it's like, this is what we wanted. This is what we all wanted, and it's right there, and it's beautiful. Okay, spoilers over. Obey Me also does a really good job of showing platonic relationships between characters, including what it's like to live with people that you're not the same as, but are family with, so you have to figure out how to get along together. And one way they show that is through these happy birthday messages. I have Simon here as an example because just by accident I seem to have made him most of my examples in this presentation. He's lucked out on that, I guess. So for the birthdays, they usually pick 3 to 4 characters that say something about the relationship, birthday-wise, I guess, with the character. So for Simon's, we have from Luke, I made a special birthday cake with a drawing of your face on it. Satan, I'll give you a book I really like, so let me hear your opinion on it. And then Levy says, we've got to celebrate your success as an author and as Simon. And so that shows the character's individual personalities as well as their relationship with that character and how they express themselves around them. And a lot of the cards as well show little snippets of their lives and how they get along and stuff. So I included some at the bottom here and on the sides. I particularly like this one on the bottom right with Beale and Belle in it. It shows a very close, vulnerable intimacy between the two of them. There's a lot of interactions between the voice actors for Obey Me and the fans, which helps create a more vibrant community. In July, they had their first live concert with 3D models. Those were pretty cool. They were much better than the ones in Nightbringer though. And I'm like, please, we need to have those in the game because they looked fantastic. And that was really fun. And I really appreciated how they made it available online also if you couldn't attend Anime Expo, and the VOD was also available for purchase, so if you couldn't watch it the day of, you could watch it later on. And the Obey Me boys, these are the voice actors in the center here. They sometimes do Twitch streams for promotional events. This one here was when the sheep plushies came out, I think, and they just kind of talk about things in the games. And over here is a promo from one of the fan signs. They attend a lot of conventions in the States. I don't know about Japan. I'm assuming they also attend conventions in Japan. And so you get to interact with them there. And they're always doing like promos and stuff, as I said. So down here, this is Lovey's voice actor, and this is a clip from a promo video for the Miss M dolls. And look how happy he looks. I enjoy that smile. I don't want to say Asmo's actor's doing the most, but it's probably just because I follow them on Twitter and on Instagram, so I see their posts most. But since they're a singer and stuff, they do a lot of tours and stuff with their music, and are always dressing up as Asmo and celebrating Asmo's birthday and stuff. Like, look at this cosplay. This is a fantastic cosplay. I also particularly love their Princess Asmo cosplay from the anime, because I think that is fabulous. And part of the success is because Obey Me has a really great online presence. They update almost daily, I want to say, with different little clips and stuff. So up here in the top right, this was when the live concert was coming out. They did a photo shoot with the little MC sheep at different spots around the concert venues and like on the way there and stuff, so that fans could be like, oh, this is where they are headed. This is where you can find them, and that kind of thing. They update mostly on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook they used to update on, but I don't think they update on Facebook anymore. They also, on their social media, host fan events and little activities and things, so that fans can feel more included in the community. So for birthdays, I also have Simon's example, but this is an example of what they do around birthday times for the characters. So for this one, on Thursday, they have messages, screenshots of your favorite scenes, journaling. Friday, covers, instrument performances, and then Saturday, fan art and storylines. So anyone can submit those with the hashtag and then share it with the rest of the community. These are examples on the right here of birthday cards. This one was from this year, and this one was from last year. So you can write a message to your favorite character, or just characters in general on their birthday. A little sweet message. Those are important to keep safe for work though, because everyone can see them. Just a little side note. And I also do similar things around significant holidays. This one was for Valentine's Day, so I did messages, screenshots of your favorite scenes, journaling, and Valentine's Day. And then on Wednesday, fan art, storylines about Valentine's Day. They also are very good at keeping up to date of when there's server updates and things. It's like, if something's down, we will know, because they will make a post of it almost immediately. And they take a lot of fan consideration into the games as well, as much as we would like more. But this is a survey that they released down at the bottom right here of when Nightbringer came out. They released this survey shortly after, so that fans could give their feedback and what they want to improve in the game. I took the survey, and it was a really good survey. It gave you lots of space to write what you wanted, and there was like no limit to what you could put in, so that was really nice. And that is all for my presentation today. Thank you everyone for attending and listening to me ramble about something I enjoy a lot. As promised, I have included some links on the screen to some fun stuff you can check out. And also, once again, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up with them, and I will answer them the best I can. Hope you all have a great time at the rest of the convention, and I'll see you all around.